Welcome to the world of motorsport, where speed and skill reign supreme. From the likes of the legendary Michael Schumacher to the modern-day greats like Max Verstappen, we've seen our fair share of talented drivers take the track by storm. But have you ever wondered who's on the opposite end of the spectrum? Who's the driver that makes even the most mediocre racers look like world champions? Well, look no further than Mahaveer Ragunathan, the Indian driver who has been making waves in the racing community for all the wrong reasons. With a reputation for being reckless, unpredictable, and downright dangerous, Ragunathan makes drivers like Pastor Maldonado and Luca Badoer look like saints in comparison. In this video, we'll explore the jaw-dropping career of Mahaveer Ragunathan by showing you the reasons why he truly deserves the title of the worst racer of all time. So stay tuned as we uncover the shocking story of the racer who makes even the most inexperienced rookies look like seasoned pros. Born on February 14, 1998 in the bustling city of Chennai, India, Mahaveer Ragunathan's life seemed to be on a fast track from the start. Interestingly, Chennai is also the hometown of Karun Chandak, another renowned Indian race car driver. However, when it comes to their careers, the similarities between the two end there. Growing up in Chennai, Ragunathan's fascination with speed began at a tender age. He spent hours watching Formula One races, mesmerized by the likes of Schumacher and Alonso. But it wasn't until the age of 13 that he burst onto the scene, which is quite old for today's standard. Talk about a late bloomer. But hey, better late than never, right? Little did we know that this tardy entrance would set the tone for a career marked by unfulfilled promises and a knack for finding trouble on the track. Mahaveer's karting journey began in 2012, and by all accounts, he showed flashes of brilliance. However, like a shooting star, his early success fizzled out faster than you can say pit stop. He transitioned to Formula Racing the same year, competing in a handful of races in the JK Racing Asia Series. The following year, Mahaveer continued his Formula 1600 adventure, finishing a respectable 6th in the MRF Challenge. Not bad at all. But like a whispered secret, his luck began to desert him. He dabbled in the Formula Masters China Series, but it was a fleeting appearance, a cameo if you will. Then, in 2014, Mahaveer made the bold move to the Italian F4 Championship. There, at least for the first time, Mahaveer was going to be facing some experienced F4 championship drivers, one of whom was Lance Stroll, aka Daddy's Boy. With a billionaire father pumping in the cash, many believe Stroll bought his way into winning the F4 championship title. But at least Mahaveer didn't have Daddy's checkbook to thank for his career. He earned his 12th place finish the hard way, through sheer determination and a hint of recklessness. In a bizarre turn of events, Mahaveer Ragunathan decided to take his talents to the European F3 Championship. For him, he had already proven himself to be a master of mediocrity in the Italian F4 Championship. But little did we know, his European F3 season would be a catastrophe of epic proportions. With a whopping 0 points to his name, Mahaveer participated in 33 out of 36 races, leaving fans and critics alike scratching their heads. His best result? A 20th place finish. The team might not have been the best, but Mahaveer's performance was a clear indication that he was in over his head. Undeterred, he moved on to the GP3 series, where he continued his trend of finishing at the back of the pack. However, Ragunathan never gave up. In a move that defied logic, Mahaveer joined the AutoGP Championship, a series notorious for being a playground for amateur drivers with deep pockets. It was a step backward, a desperate attempt to cling to his fading racing dreams. And, to add insult to injury, he failed to win even in this watered-down competition. After racing in the AutoGP Championship, Ragunathan somehow found himself in the Boss GP Series, where he managed to win the title in the lowest tier, the Formula class. But let's be real, this was no impressive feat. His nearest rival, Johan Jokinen, missed 4 rounds, automatically handing Mahaveer the title on a silver platter. One would think that this achievement would do little to boost his confidence or impress potential teams. But, in a shocking turn of events, Mahaveer vanished from the racing scene in 2018, only to reappear in 2019 with a seat in the prestigious Formula 2 Championship. How, you ask? Well, we're still trying to figure that out. With no notable wins, podiums, or even a hint of sponsorship, Mahaveer landed a spot with MP Motorsport, a team that would go on to win the F2 championship with Felipe Drugovich just a few years later. It was a move that left everyone scratching their heads in disbelief. As the 2019 season kicked off, Ragunathan's performances were, well, off expectations. Ragunathan's Formula 2 debut was catastrophic. He qualified last in Bahrain, almost 3 seconds off pole position. Even compared to fellow struggler Kala Milo, Ragunathan's performance was exceptionally disappointing. What he did in the second race at Bahrain was even more terrifying. Normally, after crossing the finish line, most drivers slow down, acknowledging the fans and cruising back to the pits. Not Mahaveer. Oh no, he had other plans. In a move that defied logic and reason, he attempted to set the best lap time after the race was over. This reckless stunt put drivers and marshals in harm's way, prompting the FIA to step in and hand him a 10-place grid penalty for the next race. But this was just the beginning. On June 22, 2019, at the Paul Ricard feature race, Ragunathan's performance took an even more disastrous turn. He failed to follow the virtual safety car procedure on 3 separate occasions, accumulating a staggering 9 penalty points in a single race. The FIA, attempting to calm the chaos, banned Ragunathan from the subsequent Austrian round. Incredibly, this suspension wasn't enough to curb his dangerous driving. After some time that same season, Ragunathan was again at risk of a second ban after racking up another 12 penalty points following the previous penalty reset. However, here's where things get even more interesting. During the Baku round of the F2 calendar, after missing a crucial turn and veering onto an escape road, Ragunathan spent a shocking 2 minutes attempting to turn his car around on live television. His inept maneuver not only damaged the car's brakes and overheated the engine, but also further exposed his incompetence as an F2 driver. Fellow drivers took notice, with rival Cam Elliott openly mocking Ragunathan's blunders. Even the fans weren't left out, as the memes and edits they came up with spoke their minds. Throughout that season, Ragunathan's poor driving resulted in numerous penalties, and others say he generally drove like a possessed man. Yet despite his best efforts to sabotage his own season, he still managed to score a single point. At Monza, the highlight of his year, Mahaveer scored his one and only point in his F2 career. But let's be clear, it wasn't because he suddenly unlocked his talent and got good overnight. Far from it. With almost half the grid failing to finish the race, Mahaveer stumbled into a 10th-place finish, securing a solitary point. However, this job well done was overshadowed by more penalties at his next race in Sochi. The racing community was left wondering how Mahaveer had managed to ascend to the heights of F2. As the season drew to a close, Mahaveer's reputation was in tatters. With only 1 point, he finished 20th in the standings. That's behind everybody else, if you know what I mean. His teammates, however, finished 9th place with 2 podium finishes, which is not bad for someone who later won the F2 championship. After the 2019 season, MP Motorsport wisely chose not to rehire him, and we all know why. I guess for this reason, Ragunathan vanished from the motorsport scene for almost 2 years, leaving fans and critics wondering if they had seen the last of him. But, like a bad penny, he turned up again, this time behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car. In a move that left the racing world shocked, Mahaveer was handed a test drive with Alfa Romeo in 2021, piloting the C38. And for some reason we don't know if he was given another chance by McLaren in 2023, also to test drive their MCL35 at Pau. And the question on everyone's lips remains, how did Mahaveer Ragunathan make it this far? Was it sponsorship from a wealthy Indian car company, or a privileged financial background? Whatever the reason may be, one thing is certain. Mahaveer Ragunathan holds the dubious distinction of being the worst racing driver of all time.